Sometimes the circumstances of death can be both unexpected and baffling. In this video, we'll explore 5 more real stories of people who lost their lives in highly unusual ways, cases that show how unpredictable life can be. It was October 20th, 1986, when Aeroflot Flight 6502 took off from Koltsovo Airport in Sverdlovsk, now called Yekaterinburg, Russia. The plane was headed for Grozny, with a scheduled stop in Samara. On board were 94 people, 87 passengers and 7 crew members. For most, it was supposed to be an ordinary flight, but what happened next turned it into one of the most shocking aviation disasters in history. The captain, Alexander Kluyev, was an experienced pilot, but on this flight, he made a reckless decision. He placed a bet with his first officer, Gennady Zhernov, claiming he could land the plane without looking outside, using only the aircraft's instruments. To prove his point, he ordered the cockpit windows to be covered, blocking all visibility. It was a dangerous and unnecessary risk. While pilots are trained to use instruments for navigation, landing without any visual reference is extremely difficult and not standard procedure. Despite the risk, Zhernov agreed to the challenge. At 3:48 p.m., 2 minutes before reaching the runway, Kluyev gave the order to close the cockpit curtains. As the plane descended, alarms went off, warning that they were too close to the ground. Air traffic control instructed Kluyev to abort the landing and try again, a common safety procedure. But he ignored the warnings. With no way to properly gauge altitude or speed, the aircraft came in too fast, about 170 miles per hour, making a safe landing nearly impossible. The plane struck the runway violently, bounced and overshot its landing zone. It then crashed off the edge, flipping upside down and bursting into flames. The fire spread rapidly, trapping many passengers. Emergency responders rushed to the scene, but the damage was severe. Of the 94 people on board, 63 died instantly, and 7 more lost their lives later due to injuries. Among those who perished was First Officer Zhernov, who had helped passengers escape but suffered a fatal cardiac event while being transported to the hospital. Miraculously, all 14 children on board survived. Their escape was seen as a rare stroke of luck, as many adults had no way to get out in time. In the immediate aftermath, Soviet authorities tightly controlled information about the disaster. The Community for State Security, known as KGB, restricted access to the crash site, and images of the wreckage remained hidden for years. It was only thanks to Colonel A.K. Karpov, a fire department chief, that some photos were smuggled out, later revealing the full extent of the destruction. An investigation quickly determined that Kluyev was solely responsible. His refusal to follow standard safety protocols led to the crash. He had ignored multiple warnings from air traffic control and the aircraft's own alarms, all for a reckless bet. The findings showed that the plane's speed and descent were completely miscalculated, making it impossible to land safely. In June 1987, Kluyev was put on trial. He was convicted of violating aviation safety regulations and sentenced to 15 years in prison. However, he served only 6 years before being released. For the families of the victims, his early release was difficult to accept. As for Zhernov, while he had participated in the ill-fated bet, his final moments were spent helping others. His death added another layer of sorrow to an already devastating event. The Aeroflot Flight 6502 tragedy remains one of the most severe examples of pilot negligence in aviation history. It raised serious concerns about overconfidence in the cockpit and the consequences of disregarding safety protocols. Had Kluyev followed air traffic control's instructions? Had Zhernov insisted they abandon the risky bet? Could the crash have been avoided? These questions remain unanswered, but they highlight the lasting impact of one poor decision. This incident stands as a reminder that even experienced pilots are not immune to critical mistakes. The lessons learned from Flight 6502 continue to influence aviation safety to this day. It was October 15, 2021, in Naucalpan de Juarez, Mexico. A young woman, estimated to be between 20 and 25 years old, decided to surprise her neighborhood with a prank. She dressed up as La Llorona, the ghostly figure from Latin American folklore, and roamed the streets, mimicking the eerie cries associated with the legend. She had always loved Halloween and wanted to entertain and spook her neighbors, but what started as a harmless joke soon took a deadly turn. La Llorona, or the Weeping Woman, is a well-known figure in Mexican culture. According to legend, she was a mother who, in a moment of despair, caused harm to her children and was condemned to roam the earth, crying out for them. Many believe hearing her mournful wails at night is an omen of misfortune. The tale has been passed down for generations, often used to warn children about the dangers of wandering off alone, especially near water. Wearing a flowing white gown and veil, the young woman walked through the San Miguel Dorami neighborhood, calling out, "Oh, my children," just as the legend describes. Her voice echoed through the quiet streets, and her appearance startled residents. The sight of a ghostly figure moving in the night, crying out in sorrow, created an unsettling atmosphere. One neighbor, unsure of what they were witnessing, took out their phone and started recording. They weren't sure if it was a prank or something more sinister. The woman, unaware of the growing concern she was causing, continued her act, determined to complete her performance. However, someone in the neighborhood mistook the prank for something far more serious. Whether out of fear, confusion, or genuine panic, one resident reacted in an extreme and irreversible way. The frightened individual, believing they were in danger, grabbed a firearm and opened fire. Several shots rang out in the night. The young woman collapsed, fatally wounded. The person responsible fled the scene immediately, leaving the community in shock. Authorities arrived soon after, finding the woman's body in the street. The tragic outcome of what was supposed to be a playful scare left the neighborhood stunned. Police launched an investigation, but the shooter's identity remained unknown. No arrests were made at the time. The woman's name was not released, adding to the mystery surrounding the case. News of the incident spread quickly, especially since it occurred just before Dia de los Muertos, Mexico's Day of the Dead, a time when families honor their deceased loved ones. What was meant to be an innocent Halloween prank had turned into a heartbreaking event. Videos of the woman dressed as La Llorona, wailing in the night, quickly surfaced on social media. Some clips showed her moments before the incident, while others captured the aftermath. The footage sparked widespread debate about safety, fear, and how quickly situations can escalate. Many questioned if the response had been justified, or if the tragic outcome could have been avoided. The case also reignited discussions about the dangers of pranks that can be misinterpreted, especially at a time when fear and uncertainty can cause people to react unpredictably. Some pointed out that the deep-rooted cultural belief in La Llorona might have heightened the fear that night, making the situation even more volatile. As days passed, authorities continued their investigation, but no further developments were reported. The shooter remained unidentified, and the community was left with unanswered questions. Could things have played out differently if fear hadn't taken over? If the prank had been less unsettling, would the woman still be alive? This incident served as a tragic example of how quickly a joke can spiral out of control. A simple act meant to entertain turned into a devastating loss. While the woman's identity remained unknown, her story left an impact, reminding people of the fine line between harmless fun and unintended consequences. It was 2024 in Deshaipet, a small village in Kamareddy district, Telangana, India. Shivaraj, a 20-year-old snake rescuer, was well known in his community for handling venomous reptiles. He had learned the skill from his father, Gangaram, a seasoned snake catcher. Together, they made a living by capturing snakes and releasing them back into the wild. But on this day, Shivaraj wanted more than just another rescue. He wanted to go viral. Shivaraj and his father had been called to remove a cobra spotted in the village. Instead of simply catching the snake, Shivaraj decided to record a video for social media. He had handled snakes many times before, but this time he wanted to perform a risky stunt. After securing the 2-meter-long cobra, he took selfies with it before attempting something even more dangerous. He placed the snake's head inside his mouth, hoping the daring act would impress his audience. The entire event was filmed. In the video, Shivaraj is seen standing in the middle of a road, confidently holding the cobra as it struggles to escape. At one point, he folds his hands in a prayer-like gesture, runs his fingers through his hair, and even gives a thumbs up to the camera. He seemed unaware of the real danger lurking just seconds away. The video lasted 44 seconds, but moments after the recording stopped, tragedy struck. The cobra, desperate to free itself, bit him inside his mouth. The venom acted fast, spreading through his system almost instantly. His father, who had been filming, rushed him to the hospital. However, despite their efforts, Shivaraj did not survive. The shocking footage quickly spread online, sparking outrage and disbelief. Many viewers were horrified, questioning why someone would risk their life for social media attention. Others pointed to the growing trend of young people attempting reckless stunts in pursuit of instant fame. Shivaraj and his father had built a reputation for their skills in handling dangerous snakes. But this time, the young rescuer's decision to turn his work into a spectacle led to devastating consequences. Despite his experience, he underestimated the risks. This wasn't the first time someone had attempted a dangerous stunt for social media. Just a few months earlier in Andhra Pradesh, a man named Madhubabu Nagaraju had also provoked a cobra for over an hour, ignoring warnings from bystanders. The snake eventually struck, leaving him in critical condition. Fortunately, he survived, but his action served as yet another example of how far people are willing to go for online attention. Shivaraj's tragic death has left his family and community in mourning. His father, who had trained him and recorded his final moments, now carries the heavy burden of knowing that the stunt meant to gain popularity instead took his son's life. The incident has sparked discussions about the dangers of social media pressure. In an era where online fame is highly sought after, many young people push limits without considering the real-world consequences. Authorities in Telangana have expressed concern over these growing trends. They plan to increase awareness about the dangers of handling venomous animals and performing high-risk stunts. Some have even called for stricter regulations regarding the handling of dangerous wildlife, especially in the context of social media. Shivaraj's story is a heartbreaking example of how far some are willing to go for views and likes. While social media can be a powerful tool, it has also encouraged extreme behavior in the pursuit of recognition. Shivaraj's final video may have gained attention, but it came at a terrible cost. His life was cut short, leaving behind grief, regret, and a lesson that should never be forgotten. It was March 9, 2023, in Donnybrook, Dublin. Tom MacDonald, a 92-year-old father of 5, had been living with his daughter, Ailbe, for over a year after his wife, Viola, moved to a nursing home. He had been diagnosed with dementia 5 years earlier, and his condition had recently worsened. That night, something unexpected happened. At around 3:30 a.m., Ailbe heard her father moving around the house. This wasn't unusual. Tom often woke up confused about the time and sometimes went to the kitchen to prepare food. Assuming he would return to bed soon, she waited. But after 20 minutes, when he didn't come back, she decided to check on him. In the kitchen, she found Tom standing by the counter, looking unwell. He told her he had eaten something and wasn't feeling right. When she looked at the bowl in front of him, she was shocked. His cornflakes were soaked in a purple liquid. It was washing detergent. Tom admitted he had eaten it. Ailbe, horrified, asked if he was sure, and he confirmed it again. He had already begun vomiting and complained of throat pain. Realizing the seriousness of the situation, Ailbe immediately called for an ambulance. Tom's condition rapidly declined. Despite his protests, he was rushed to St. Vincent's University Hospital. Doctors sedated him to stabilize his condition, but the detergent had already caused severe damage. It affected his stomach and lungs, leading to breathing difficulties. By 8:50 a.m., Tom had passed away. The official cause of death was aspiration pneumonitis, a condition that occurs when harmful substances enter the lungs, causing swelling and breathing difficulties. The hospital contacted the National Poisons Information Center, but there was no antidote for the detergent. The damage was irreversible, and nothing could be done to save him. His family was devastated. Though Tom's dementia had been getting worse, he had still been relatively independent. He sometimes ate spoiled food, but no one had imagined something like this could happen. The detergent was stored in a cupboard, far from the fridge, and Ailbe never thought he would mistake it for something edible. Experts suggest that Tom's weakened sense of taste may have played a role in the accident. Dementia can affect a person's ability to recognize flavors and smells. As his condition worsened, he could no longer cook for himself and often ate whatever he found, even if it was unsafe. That night, confusion led him to pour detergent into his cereal, unaware of the danger. Tom's other daughter, Aisling, was shocked by how quickly it happened. One moment, he seemed fine. The next, he was gone. The family had been managing his dementia for years but never anticipated this outcome. The inquest into his death showed the risks faced by dementia patients. People with advanced dementia can become disoriented and struggle to distinguish between everyday items and dangerous substances. This case shed light on the importance of taking extra precautions when caring for someone with cognitive impairments, especially in their home environment. Tom MacDonald had lived a full life. He had served in the Defense Forces and later worked as an accountant. But in the end, a simple mistake led to tragic consequences. His family had been worried about his condition and the challenges of caring for him at home, but they never expected that something as routine as breakfast could lead to his death. The coroner ruled his passing as accidental and referred the case to organizations like the Alzheimer's Society of Ireland and the Health Service Executive to help raise awareness about the dangers dementia patients face at home. She noted that this was a rare case, unlike anything she had seen before, but one that could serve as a warning for families caring for loved ones with dementia. Would things have been different if the detergent had been stored in a more secure place? Could his family have done more to prevent this from happening? These are the difficult questions they are left with. While no one can turn back time, Tom's story shows the unpredictable risks of dementia. It's a reminder of how important it is to ensure the safety of those who struggle with memory loss and confusion, especially when it comes to household hazards. It was March 15, 2013, in Longmont, Colorado. 18-year-old Pramila Lal was an energetic and well-loved young woman She had recently graduated from Niwot High School, where she was known for her talent in track and her outgoing personality. That Friday night, she was spending time with friends, unaware that a simple prank would end in tragedy. Pramila and her 12-year-old cousin decided to play a harmless joke on a close family friend, 21-year-old Narek Daniel Gali. Gali was at a rental home playing video games with Pramila's 15-year-old brother, Pranil. Unaware of the prank, the two boys were caught off guard when they heard strange noises coming from another room. Hiding quietly in a closet, Pramila and her cousin waited for the right moment. But as Gali and Pranil grew suspicious, they assumed an intruder was in the house. With the home nearly empty, since Pramila's family was in the process of moving, there was no one else around. Then, at the worst possible moment, Pramila jumped out to surprise them. Startled, Gali panicked. In a split second, he grabbed a gun and fired. Pramila was hit. The shock was immediate. Her younger cousin, terrified, rushed to help. The group made a desperate decision. Gali and the two younger boys rushed Pramila to Longmont United Hospital, hoping to save her. Outside, a neighbor had heard loud yelling from the house. Realizing something was wrong, she and her husband called the police. By the time officers arrived at 8:02 p.m., the house was in chaos. The front door was open and confusion filled the scene. By 9 p.m., Pramila was gone. What started as an innocent joke had ended in an irreversible tragedy. Gali was arrested early Saturday morning. He faced multiple charges, including reckless endangerment and allowing a minor access to a firearm. Authorities found that the gun had been in the hands of Pramila's younger brother before the incident, something their parents had not permitted. A police search of the home revealed the gun still loaded, with a live round jammed near the ejection port. It had been left near the stairs in the living room, a haunting reminder of what had happened. Gali, who had no strong ties to the community, was considered a flight risk. He was held on a high bond as police worked with the Boulder County District Attorney's Office to determine if further charges would be filed. His attorney made no public statement. For Pramila's family, the pain was unbearable. Her father, Praveen Lal, spoke to reporters, struggling to process what had happened. He described his daughter as a ray of sunshine and admitted he was still in disbelief. Despite his grief, Mr. Lal did not express anger toward Gali. Instead, he showed remarkable compassion, emphasizing that while they had lost a daughter, they did not want anyone else to lose a son, especially due to an accident. The family was devastated, yet they did not want to see another life ruined by the tragedy. Pramila had been a bright presence in her community. She was popular, well-liked, and deeply involved in her school's cross-country team. After her passing, the track team organized a special meet in her honor, celebrating her life and the impact she had on those around her. Longmont, once a small farming town, had grown into a modern tech hub, yet nothing in its history had prepared the community for such a heartbreaking event. The loss of Pramila affected everyone. As the investigation continued, many were left wondering how things had gone so wrong. Could this have been prevented if the prank had been called off? If the gun had been safely stored away? If Gali had reacted differently? What if Pramila had not jumped out at that exact moment? Would they have just laughed it off and moved on with their night? What if the family had decided not to participate in the prank at all? Would Pramila still be here, enjoying life as a young woman with a bright future? The community was left searching for answers that would never fully come. No matter what the legal outcome was, one truth remained. Pramila was gone, and for those who loved her, the pain of that loss would never fade.